Hello and welcome to Defending the Windy City with David Drwencke. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, where we explore what sets top professionals apart in their fields. Today, we're diving into what makes DRD law unique in the world of criminal defense. We're joined by David Drwencke, the founder of DRD Law, a firm that's not only passionate about defending its clients, but also utilizes cutting-edge technology to streamline the legal process. David, welcome back. Great to see you.
Oh, good to see you too.
There's a lot of competition in the legal field, but what do you believe are the key differentiators that make DRD law stand out to potential clients?
Sure. Well, I think there's a few. First and foremost, it's that we have a laser focus on what we do. If someone were to go and look up the firm, you're not going to see that we're trying to be all things to all people. We've picked our lane. We do criminal defense, and that's what we do best because it's the only thing we do. So we've established our relationships with judges and state's attorneys. We stay up to date on the case law. We understand the newest or sometimes even the oldest programs that are available to our clients. We know how to work these cases because it's the only thing we do. Now, beyond that, it's also investing in ourselves. It's investing in the team. It's investing in our attorneys and myself by going to continuing legal education seminars and knowing the latest and greatest tricks and techniques and things that we can be doing to get the best results for our clients. And then beyond that, it's investing in the firm by leveraging technology. If that's artificial intelligence, legal research platforms, practice management tools as far as organizing our files, a client portal, our own firm application to communicate with clients. We invest in every aspect of our firm, from having the best people, the best trained people, to then having the best tools. And we put that all together by having that laser focus. You get the best results.
Technology has become a big part of law practices today. Are you a techie guy?
Oh, yeah, it's probably one of the best words to use to describe me. Is I love technology. I love gadgets. I love that, especially now in the legal field, how these tools can be used to better serve our clients and actually give us a competitive advantage over the state's attorneys, and certainly gives our clients a leg up when compared to other law firms who aren't using these tools, who aren't serving their clients to the best of their ability. We have invested in technology because I'm such a tech guy and just a tech nerd, I'll fully admit it, but that bears fruit for our clients in getting the best results.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's probably some people that are a little more resistant to it. Maybe they just feel like, hey, if it ain't broke, the system is always, or I've always done it this way. There's kind of maybe like an old-fashioned outlook on it. But hey, if the tools are there and they actually help you and the client, why not utilize them, right?
100% right. And legal profession is really near the peak of the immovable object. Even during the times of the pandemic and COVID, the legal field was one of the last bits to embrace using Zoom and conferencing in order to keep the system moving along. Now, they eventually did adopt it. I'm grateful for it, but it was slow moving. Even filing things electronically. It's now a little over a decade old or so, but you'll be surprised how few attorneys will still leverage being able to just electronically file their pleadings and paperwork, that they're still printing things out and paying a courier or taking it to the court themselves to drop off in hard copy. It's incredible. Even getting discovery, the evidence on a case. This is within the last 4 or 5 years, so not a long time, that the state's attorney's office, specifically here in Cook County, are very rarely giving hard copy files. They're actually digitizing everything, putting it up to a server, and then sending to attorneys. So then we download and we'll have a digital file. Now, there's still been a lot of pushback, a lot of older attorneys, and those maybe without the high-speed internet, that are looking at these huge files that are not embracing that, because the downloads can take hours if you don't have high speed, gig speed internet and so forth. And then they're used to having hard copy files. Everything's in a folder. Everything's a piece of paper. Everything we do, certainly we can print out and have a hard copy of, but everything we have is digital, that I can do quick searches to find documents across files, that I can summarize files. I can use artificial intelligence to both do legal research and to summarize documents. So we're working smarter and more efficiently, that we know where we have to go back and put a human eye over things. We don't just assume it's correct, But as a starting point, it's incredible. And then, of course, in providing the best customer service for our clients, it's leveraging those technologies from simple stuff, like, of course, call and text and email your attorney, but that we have a client portal. We actually have an application that a client, when they sign with us, is invited to. Here's a two-way communication tool that's on your phone that's dedicated just to you. We can share files. We can explain where you are along the way. Again, I jokingly call it the Domino's pizza tracker, where as you're going along the process in different stages of the case, the application will update. And you can learn more about where we're at with the case. Here are frequently asked questions. Here's more information so that you can learn. It also updates with your calendar dates, simple things like, is it in Zoom or is it in person? What was the date and time again? Because that happens a lot where I'll get a text message, when's my court date? What's going on? Well, it's in the app. You have that. We're providing an A+ experience to our clients during the process itself. But these tools ultimately lead us to getting the best result for our clients, if that's negotiating out a plea, if it's drafting a motion, trying to get something dismissed, or it's preparing ourselves for trial. These tools help give us a leg up on the competition who does not have these tools. And that includes the state's attorney's office. We have things that the state's attorney's office, with the budget that they have and as big and powerful they are, especially in Cook County, we are leveraging tools they aren't, because we're cutting edge and they're still, kind of dinosaurs in many respects.
Yeah, I love a good client portal, whether it's, your health insurance, your financial advisor, like whatever. I mean, it's nice to not have to call or email. You just go in and you can get all the information you need. Those are amazing for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when a lot of this information, unfortunately, can be behind walls that you don't have access to, or you have to call the clerk's office, even for simple things like getting your next court date, or you wanted to go over a file or a video or a document that, listen, we're recording this, it's near the end of 2024, heading into 2025. This is how we expect to interact with our servicers, whoever that may be. And you've said it's our bank. We expect there to be the app that I can, from my phone, check my balance and make a payment and transfer funds and whatever, get questions answered, or have a direct dial into my team, all from the app. Well, why would the law firms not be that way? But you would be surprised. Some of the biggest, most powerful, with all the assets in the world, they aren't spending this time. They're not investing in their client experience. They're not investing in the tools to give themselves an advantage. And at the end of the day, I mean, it is true. There's a reason why it says the people of the state of Illinois or Michigan or Washington, D.C., where I happen to be licensed, versus, and that's the key word, versus my client. This is adversarial. There are winners and losers. If there's a way to get a leg up, or to be more efficient, or to be better prepared, or to whatever that is, to be able to do the right legal research, use these tools. If you're not, in my personal opinion, the attorneys, I'll speak specifically the criminal defense attorneys, if you're not doing this, this is, adjacent to malpractice, that these tools are out there, but you're refusing to invest in them. You're refusing to use them. I know that there are attorneys who don't pay for even, basic legal research. I'm not talking about next level AI or anything like that. It's just, do you have access where you can cite a case and double check if it's still good law, or review law that was cited by the state's attorney? It's like, well, I Google things, or, I might use a friend's or whatever. Like, oh my God. Like, no way. That I'm like, I hope your client is aware that you're not doing this, because I trust they wouldn't be your client for very long if they knew you don't even have basic tools to serve their file and to do the research and to review their discovery and so forth. So that is something I can guarantee to both my clients and then to the firm itself. We will always be cutting edge. And if there's a way for us to get a competitive advantage, I'm going to take it, because it's worth it. And my clients should expect it and demand it.
Well, the other side too is if I'm, we all know that lawyers are busy, especially defense attorneys are very busy. So if I'm choosing a defense attorney, I would like to know that one is doing the best they can to stay organized, to stay to streamline their process. And so that would in turn make me feel like I'm going to get better service, because I know that my attorney is not being pulled in so many directions, because they're nice and organized and have everything dialed in.
Oh, absolutely. And that the ball doesn't get dropped. I mean, that's right. One of the biggest fears I think that clients have. It's like, listen, this is my life. I hear that all the time. This is my life. Even if it's the lowest level case where in reality they're unlikely to go to jail or anything like that. It's like, listen, I have a clean record. I don't want a misdemeanor.
Right.
This is my life. This is going to impact my employment or job opportunities in school, or I have to put this on a rental application, among other things. I don't want to have to tell my future spouse I have a criminal background or say this on dates or whatever. Yeah, I get that. And then up to the very, very serious felonies of, I might go to prison for the rest of my life. I am charged with a very serious crime. I want to know that I'm getting the best service, that every stone has been unturned, that you're leveraging every tool in order to get the best result. And sometimes that's just being prepared. That's being able to know the file in and out and check inconsistencies and be able to have that organized. It's like, it's there. I can pull up somebody's file, have all the notes, know what your previous dates were, when things were received, when they were reviewed, summaries, to do the legal research, all kinds of stuff. There are tools that exist that I invest in. One is just reviewing videos where there's conversations back and forth, body cams. Well, there's no transcript out there unless you create one yourself. Well, this tool through AI will create a transcript from the video interview or the body cam on the side of the street. And then within that AI, within the transcript, I can ask it questions and excise out specific portions of this. And it is unbelievable. Well, give you a good example where a client denied his involvement in this dozens of times. Well, I could watch this hour-and-a-half video and count and do a little tally. He says, I didn't do this the third time, the fifth time, the sixth time, or I can spit this into my system, get the transcript and ask the question, how many times does the client deny this? And it'll come back and say 17 times. And then it cites to each and every time he says something to the effect of, I didn't do this, I'm not involved, or what have you. And I could play that and say, so during the 17 times he told you you wasn't involved, you didn't think anything of that, or to respond to the state's argument and emotion and so forth. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. So it's working smarter. And I wouldn't even say it's not that we're not working as hard. It allows us to do that much more and be that much better prepared because we're leveraging these tools. It's absolutely incredible what can be done nowadays.
Yeah, the summarization is one of my top use cases for AI. I love doing summaries of things, especially when it's maybe long or technical things that I'm not real good at. Like it's wonderful for that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And that is one of the tools that we have that's just baked into our practice management tool. I can feed into the system a police report. The system will then read it, come back and give you a summary of the facts. So you have a bird's eye view, but it then excises out other key details, the date of incident, the date of arrest, and so forth, that's there. And I can have that readily available. So I have the basics from jump. Send me the police report, give me 5 minutes. I'll have a summary and I'll have some of the key details immediately. When it comes to legal research, and one of the things I think is absolutely brilliant is you can ask even non-lawyer questions, just a general question. What is this, or how is this interpreted under Illinois law? And it comes back and it's going to cite the statutes and case law and whatever. And then I want to get a little more nitty gritty. For instance, we have a kidnapping case. We're going to be resolving here in the next week. Well, okay, define kidnapping. Let's read the statute. What's in there? Now, okay, you said X, Y, and Z define or a part of kidnapping. Well, I want to know more about why. The specific portion of why. Well, get in what cases are defining why or explaining what why is, this variable. And it comes back. Ask a question within that research. Here are other cases that define this very specific portion of the statute or of this other case law. And again, within 10, 15 minutes of a long form memo with case law, citations, everything that I need within minutes, as opposed to what could have been hours, maybe days, assigning that to an associate or assigning this to a research attorney. And I'll get my memo back in a day or two. It's like, well, we don't work at that pace anymore. Right. I need it and I need it now, or I need it in the midst of trial and so forth. And again, to think that there are attorneys who aren't just using AI. They're not using that tool. They're not using these research tools. They don't even have a subscription to something to try to do their own research. Like this, you are doing a disservice to your client. There's no way you can be getting the best results for them. And it comes down to, I guess it's maybe being cheap is part of it, not wanting to invest, that takes away from your profit because you've had to pay for these tools. Whereas for me, it's like, no. Future profits, future clients will hire me, will hire the firm because they know we use these tools when plenty of others don't.
I think fear plays into it too. I think people are scared of it and they don't understand it, how it works, and it makes them nervous.
That's part. Oh, absolutely. And there have
Yeah,
been negative stories, even utilizing AI. And it's not a set it and forget it, just punch in a question, get an answer, and just rely on it. There's some vetting. You have to get into it and verify
absolutely.
things. I
Yeah.
believe it was a federal court in New York is where an attorney used very early version of like Chat GPT. I wasn't even a legal sandboxed one, and it hallucinated was
I
the
remember.
word.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it made up case like did not exist.
He
These are
made up
cases.
cases that didn't exist. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he went with it.
Absolutely. So then he got pretty heavily sanctioned. And the explanation was, I did this research through Chat GPT. I basically cut and pasted it and didn't verify it. The Illinois Supreme Court, within the last month, let's say, I think it was actually sooner than that, in December of 2024, came out with some basic guidance. It was really only about a page and a half. At the end of the day, it was very simple. You read the long form article, and it seems like the Illinois Supreme Court is very leery of AI, and I'm not entirely sure why. But the real takeaway or the guidance was, listen, you're the attorney signing this form. If it's a motion, if it's some other legal pleading, you're accepting responsibility for what is in that pleading, that
Absolutely.
you're stating it's accurate and honest, and you vetted this. So that, taking the New York example and applying it to Illinois, it's like, yeah, I'm the one signing this motion. I can be sanctioned if I'm making up case law or citing cases that aren't real, or I'm misciting, which could be the other thing, is it's a real case, but you're saying, Judge, well, this is what it ruled, or this was its finding. And in actuality, that's not true. It's like, well, now you're misleading the tribunal. You have been dishonest to the judge. Not good. And even if the judge chalks it up to incompetence or lazy or a misread, well, your adversary is not going to read it that way and will be more than happy to hammer you over the head by saying that you're misciting cases and not applying the law correctly. And that's yet just another tool. When I get a motion from the state's attorney, one of the first things that I do, beyond just bloody well reading it myself, is I will feed it into my system. That system reads the motion, excises out the case law and the citations and everything else that the state is using, and then vets it. Is this appropriate law? Are they citing to good law, or has it been overturned? Or has it been maybe not entirely overturned, but there's a nuance in this that it can find. And of course, yeah, if they miscite to something or it's not a real case or whatever, it's going to be one of the first parts of my argument, because everything else starts to fall apart like a house of cards. It's like, well, they're telling you this case exists that doesn't, or they've misled you, Your Honor, about what the holding is. The argument all of a sudden falls apart. And yet again, it's just a tool we can use within moments, feed it a PDF or a Word document into the system. I come back, I have not only all the case law that the state has hyperlinked and I can click and read and review things, it's summarizing it for me and then providing other case law that's on this issue. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And I feel like it's just necessary, but I nerd out about it. I vividly remember when I first signed up and had it. I think it was 1 a.m. I was recording a video, like, watch how this system works, and sending it to a couple of my attorney friends, like, you got to sign up for this. This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. But that love of technology and like being a cutting edge, and even in my personal life, like that gadgets is where I maybe have a soft spot for spending money, but that bleeds into my firm and how I want to run things, and who ultimately benefits. It's the client, and that's the way it should work.
I share your technology nerdiness too. I was an early adopter of Chat GPT myself, but you guys kind of pride yourself at the DRD law firm. You guys pride yourself on emphasizing empathy and personalized service and all that. Do you have any difficulties balancing technology while still having the personal touch?
No, I don't think so, because the personal touch does come from actually communicating with your client. Now, of course, 2024, 2025, and so forth, there's a lot less interpersonal going on. But I always encourage my clients, absolutely, you can call. Is it oftentimes easier to text or to email or to go through the client portal? Certainly, because you can do that 24/7, 365, and we'll respond when we can. It's usually within minutes, if not hours. But where the empathy comes from is it's on the front end, and it's when we are communicating with our client and going through a summarization of their evidence or learning about their side of things and what went on, because that is crucial. That empathy is where we learn a great deal from our client about the case. I often say that the expert on their case is the client. It's them. Now we're getting up to speed. We're doing our best to be the expert. We're the expert attorneys in how we're going to try the case and negotiate the case and provide legal expertise. But you know who these people are. You have a lifetime of background with this person who's making an allegation against you, or the witnesses that are involved, where we learn things that we could never know. I could stare at a file and a witness statement 1,000 times for 100 hours, and only to find out my client's like, oh yeah, that's my ex-spouse. Oh, that's interesting. Like, that's not mentioned anywhere. I just thought that this was a random person making this statement. It's like, now I know, oh, they may have a bone to pick with you. Like, didn't end well. Oh
yeah. How did that end? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great context. Then there's no way of knowing that. So you have to be able to have a communication with your client. You have to have trust both ways. I have to trust that my client's going to tell me the truth. And then of course I want my client to trust me that I'm going to tell them the truth and provide accurate, honest feedback and analysis on their case about what the best direction is, about motions, or whether we should be negotiating or a trial, and whether there should be a bench trial or a jury trial. You have to earn that trust. But empathy is where we learn about our client, about their background, about the moving parts of their case. And you only get that from sitting down and talking to them. And again, now technology can allow us to do that. That can be over Zoom or FaceTime or Google Meet. It can be over the phone. And then of course, it's oftentimes in person as well. If it's at the office or at the courthouse having a conversation, that, listen, I care as a human being. I care as a competitive person that, I want to win. We're all rowing in the same direction. You want to beat your case or get the best result. I want to beat your case and get the best result, because of course I care about you as a client, but I care that I want to win. Winning is good for business. It's good for me. It's good for my own ego. I like winning, but that all comes from communication. And communication, again, nowadays can be both digital, but you never can get rid of that interpersonal, actually being on the phone, hearing their voice, meeting them in person, getting to know them as a person. You can only do that by having an actual connection with them. And while I encourage technology and all the tools that we have and that we leverage to get the results, that human connection never goes away. And that's why I encourage people to communicate with us in the best way that works for them. It just so happens more often than not that it is digital a lot.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. All right. Well, I love it. That's great stuff. Thank you for joining us on Defending the Windy City with attorney David R. Drwencke. To connect with David, head to drdlawllc.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave us a review. David, great talking with you. Love to chat technology with you.
Same for you. Have a great rest of the day.